has been so hard keeping this a secret, but I'm finally making a video about it. After talking about it in the Facebook group and on social media for weeks now, I have had the craziest find of my entire record collecting career. Now let me preface this by saying, no one should spend $1,200 on a record. That is usually insane, and I don't think any other scenario I would have purchased a record for that much money. That being said, while I don't have $1,200 of disposable income to throw at a single release, I do have a lot of records. And I was able to shift some grails that aren't as important as this one that I've been holding on to over to get this. So I actually sold my Pearl Jam Rearview Mirror record, which is a greatest hits compilation over 4 discs. It's very hard to find, but I said to myself, I have all these songs on different albums. I don't necessarily need this outside of completion's sake. I put it up on Discogs for cheaper than the cheapest copy, which ended up being for $400, and it sold that night. So 1/3 of the cost right there. I sold a whole bunch of screen printed posters, got about another $400 from stuff that I didn't really need, and then the rest I made up for some other minor grails that I sold. I felt like parting with those records was absolutely worth it because of what I got. So let me just tell you guys this story. It's crazy. If you haven't already, it'd be awesome if you'd like this video, hit the red subscribe button, and turn your bell notifications on so you don't miss out on any weekly videos I put out. This record was not on my top 7 grails that I wanted to get this year list because it is that unattainable. Based on price history and how frequently, or I should say infrequently, it pops up, I didn't want to put it on this list because I knew there was almost no chance of me even finding it. Although, if you watch this video, you'll know I talked about this record countless times. I was refreshing Discogs as I do 100 times a day, and this popped up. I froze for a half second, and without even thinking, I hit add to cart, and I submitted the order. I didn't pay for it yet, but I locked it in as mine. I took a deep breath, I looked at myself and I said, that is a crazy price, especially for when it says signed by the whole band. And I then started to realize this price is too low, it's too good to be true, I might be getting scammed. In 2015, a signed copy of this record, only signed by Mike McCready, went for $1,500, and that was 5 years ago. A recent copy, in the past month, sold for this price. I'd never seen this pop up for under $1,000, and it usually goes for over $2K. So a signed copy for $1,200? Something was up, or I need to do some investigation. Take note that back in 2003, when they pressed the 2,000 of these, they were $35 a pop on the Pearl Jam 10 Club store. The hobby has changed considerably since then. So let me explain what this is. This is the holy grail of Pearl Jam vinyl records. This is Pearl Jam live at Benaroya Hall from 2003. It's a show they did, full band, all acoustic, back at the legendary Benaroya Hall in Seattle. It is considered one of the best live Pearl Jam shows because of the energy of the audience, and the track selection for the actual show is full of rarities and unique things they don't normally play. This is long out of print, and it's the most desirable record for a Pearl Jam fan because it's supposed to sound amazing on wax. So I said to myself, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, but I don't want to get scammed and buy a copy with fake signatures because that would just be a smudge on something so beautiful, even for the price that is shockingly fair for this release. So I asked the seller, I said, do me a favor, send me a picture of the release with the signatures, and also include your username written down on a piece of paper. That was a way that I can make sure it wasn't taken from some site and I was getting duped or sent a bunch of boxes, which, as you guys know, has happened to me before. I got the email very quickly, and I looked at the name of the email, and the email said it was from Ray Cameron. I thought that was a little strange because the drummer of Pearl Jam's name is Matt Cameron, who is also the drummer of Soundgarden. I did some Googling and very quickly found out that Ray Cameron is the name of Matt Cameron's son. So this was either the craziest moment or an elaborate scam that I was getting absolutely fleeced on. I went back to Discogs and I went to his profile, and based on his name and the picture, this was Ray Cameron, folks. This was legit. So I paid for it, which was a tough click of the confirm button, but I knew that it was going to be worth it selling things that were less important for this once-in-a-lifetime record opportunity from my favorite band. He said he would pack it up and send it after the weekend, which is great. So over the weekend, I had time to think about it all day, every day. And I realized, oh man, there's all this USPS stuff going on. It's chaotic. Maybe I should ask if he'll send it FedEx or UPS just to be safe. Well, I asked him, and on Monday he had responded apologizing that he had already sent it media mail, no insurance, USPS. I thought it was a little crazy to send something that rare and invaluable and irreplaceable via media mail without insurance, but he already did it. he did the thing, and at this point it was up to the fates for it to arrive unscathed and on time. It said it would be there in about a week. So a week passed and the delivery day came, and instead of out for delivery, which I was hoping it would say, it said in transit arriving late. Now, those of you who buy a lot of records, especially lately, know that that status is the worst thing you can see from the USPS tracking because it means nothing. It means that package is either sitting somewhere in a warehouse, it is lost, or it's being passed back and forth like a football between different distro centers, possibly around the entire US. It basically means your package is somewhere. Every day for the next 4 days, I watched it update at noon to in transit arriving late, and all the worst scenarios were popping into my head, thinking about this thing being thrown around a warehouse, this thing getting lost, this thing being crushed under 700, 800 pounds of packages, or this thing getting stolen. I was freaking out. I was nervous. I wasn't worried about getting my money back if it didn't show up, because I probably would, but the coming so close to something like this that's like a dream get, and then losing it to something like USPS mishandling would have been just devastating. However, things sometimes work out, and the 5th day it updated to out for delivery, and it showed up without a scratch. And let me present to you the holy grail of my record collection now. Pearl Jam, live at Benaroya Hall, signed by all members of the band. Eddie Vedder, Mike McCready, Jeff Ament, Matt Cameron, Stone Gossard. And what's interesting to note is that Eddie's signature has changed over the years, but this particular version is the one that he was using in the early 2000s before he changed the E up to be a little more stylized, which matches the idea of this being released in 2003 and being a promo copy that the band signed, because if you look in the bottom, it says number 003 of 2000. So it is the 3rd copy, hand-numbered, out of 2000. I can't believe that I'm holding this. This is a record I've dreamed of owning, and I couldn't have imagined it being a signed copy, ever. 4 inner sleeves that have these really cool kind of cartoony white and red versions of the band. It comes on 180 gram red wine colored vinyl, and immediately the first thing I did, of course, was give it a spin. And let me tell you, this lived up to every expectation I could have had. It sounds incredible. It leapt off the platter through my speakers. That concert just came to life in a way I could have never imagined. Crisp audio, amazingly well mastered, and the track list, like I mentioned earlier, is unbelievable. I almost cried halfway through side A because I couldn't believe I was spinning it, and I couldn't believe how good it sounded. It opens with one of my all-time favorite Pearl Jam songs, and an underrated song, Of the Girl. Very haunting, very beautiful. And then there's amazing renditions of Low Light, Thin Air, Off He Goes, Black, tons of other catalog greats. And then also some stuff that ends up being on the Lost Dogs B-side compilation, Down, Dead Man, lots of good stuff. And of course a fantastic cover of Masters of War by Bob Dylan. This is officially the rarest and most special record in my collection. I will cradle it like a child for the rest of my life. I am so elated that I could have had an interaction with Matt Cameron's son, how it goes so well. The fact that he offered this for such a reasonable price, looking at the average, this is still a crazy price for how infrequently it pops up, and the fact that it's signed by the full band in such a low number. This was just, for me, the greatest find I've ever had. And I know some of you are looking at me and saying, Matt, you spent over $1,000 on a record. You're an idiot. And you know what? I understand your perspective. But the amount of records I buy over the course of the year, the fact that I could take some of those and refunnel those funds into something that I might never find again, for me, was more than worth it. And I hope you guys understand that. That's my story time. I'm very excited to have this. It sounds amazing. And if you can ever track it down, I sincerely recommend buying it, because this is something that Pearl Jam fans need to hear on wax to really appreciate it. Thanks for watching.